50th anniversary of independence. Now, our bursar chose this image, and it really resonates with me because metaphorically, the image captures much of what characterized the Kayville financial environment. But at the same time, I think it symbolizes the future direction of the campus. At first glance, it seems that dark clouds are hovering. But as you look, you notice the beautiful rays of rosy light. They are our visioning and strategic planning. Even more importantly, there are stars shining brightly. And for me, Chair, these symbolize our students, faculty, staff, and strategic initiatives. And standing proud and resolute, bathed in the golden glow of the Kayville campus, is the iconic clock tower, which is a symbol of our strength and our resolute nature. So even with our financial challenges and our decline in student enrollment, we have not retreated from the university's mission and vision. So on the cusp, Chair, of the implementation of the 2017-2022 strategic plan, the Kayville campus is solidifying the foundation for a smart campus. We are at the dawn of the smart university of the West Indies. So even though, colleagues, the current environment is challenging, I will demonstrate why we are resolute about Kayville's ongoing relevance and leadership as a premier educational institution in the Caribbean. My guarded optimism is grounded in visioning and strategic planning and the excellent staff we have here, but most of all, our ability to work within the context of the new strategic plan. So why the move to a smart campus of the University of the West Indies as an educational model? The campus recognizes that the educational model that we introduced in the 1960s to provide a UWI education primarily for citizens of Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean has reached its limits. It provided what was required then, that the woman and manpower to build post-independent countries. But now the campus has recognized the model has reached its limits, and we have reconceptualized the educational model, and we are repositioning the Kayville campus to be a unique provider of higher education nationally, regionally, and globally. The campus is fully embracing the digital era in every aspect of its ongoing development. The campus has employed two previous strategies by my predecessor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, as campus principal, and we know them well, and they had served us very well. One graduate per household and creating knowledge households. And Sir Hilary, in introducing the second model strategy for our development of the educational model, stated creating knowledge households, refashioned the earlier approach to focus on households, acquiring technologies of learning in preparation for the digital era. Chair and colleagues, the digital era is here. We are here now. And what I'm saying to you is that through assessing the internal and external environment, responding to the mandate of the new strategic plan, assessing our strengths, and responding to our threats, we have determined that the Kayville campus has to pursue an educational model designed to exploit the digital era. We have decided that that new approach will be centered on the development of the Kayville campus as a smart campus of the UWI. And in following the approach to develop the Kayville campus as a smart campus of the UWI, we will also pay attention to the AAA strategic goals of access, alignment, and agility. And these triple goals undergird our new thrust and vision to transform Kayville into a smart campus. And in doing that, we will broaden access, improve our internal operating processes, including engagement of staff, employee engagement, but particularly continuing to transform our teaching and learning environment. We will promote innovation and become more entrepreneurial across all operations. What do we mean when we say at Kayville that we are moving to a smart campus? Well, the smart campus seeks to harness the advances in IT, such as smartphones, big data, the Internet of Things, cloud service, all towards improving educational delivery and pedagogy. There are many aspects, but this is foundational. So it must not be thought of as only belonging to one faculty, because how we conceptualize the smart campus is the transformation of the platforms that we use to deliver education and to engage our students and to expand access to the Kayville campus. The main focus will be on revolutionizing the education system through diversification of content and widespread application of information technology, while maintaining vigilance over investment, very importantly, quality assurance and student-centeredness. We will, of course, further emphasize smart learning using technology as we try to capture there to enhance the student experience. The excellent work of the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning enables us to transform pedagogy and content delivery in the establishment of the smart campus. And Director of CETL, Mrs. Atherley, informs me that e-learning is pretty much the norm at Kayville. So, Chair and colleagues, we are on our way. A critical aspect of the smart campus is broadening accessibility. The smart campus expands accessibility for students who are differently abled and for those whose career or lives do not permit them to be in a physical classroom for every class.
My name is Janelle Odell, and I'm a second-year law student and faculty of law. I felt a bit skeptical when I thought about coming to University of West Indies because I was wondering how it would be as a student with disability being here. But upon applying, I was thrilled when I found out that the faculty of law had an online policy where everything was placed online. And for me, that was a strong encouragement for me as a totally blind student, because it allowed me to be able to access all the material online by just using the voice-over software on my MacBook.
The smart campus harnesses information technologies, deploys our blended learning policy, and provides students with options in terms of how they access learning in three key areas. Now, even though I mentioned we are moving to the smart campus, what that student, Janelle Odell, just demonstrated is that we have the building blocks in place. Because here we heard from a completely blind student who is pursuing a degree in law and talking about the facilities within her faculty that enable her. And we do know she's not the first blind student that we have had. We have had Her Honor Senator Kerry Ann Eiffel. But the very fact that she is now using technologies online tells us that we have the components in place to really solidify the creation of that smart campus. And what that smart campus does, it provides our students with more options. They have options in how the campus presents content, how they demonstrate their acquisition of knowledge, skills, and abilities, and how they engage in the process of learning. We will also as part of developing that smart campus, we will also seek to integrate the neighboring Warren's business community by designing a smart campus, smart city proposal. This is a very important component too. This is intended to position the campus as a driver and a seamless and integral driver of services, resources, and intellectual capital in an urban business and residential environment. And you see, we are ideally positioned to do that. And that is an ongoing phase. But we have started work on it, and Professor Winston Moore and Dr. Justin Robinson are working on a smart campus, smart city proposal. So colleagues, stay tuned. Now, even as we pursue these key initiatives during the first phase of the strategic plan, we face two related challenges. The staggering arrays to the campus because of the government's debt of $180 million, and the reduction in student numbers since the introduction of tuition fees. And a little later, I will talk about all the measures that we have put in place to deal with that. But the point is that those are two sobering realities in our environment. And how have we been trying to deal with that? Well, we have introduced a strict regime of cost reduction measures. We have been mounting an aggressive campaign, recruitment campaign, which has been bolstered by expanded financial aid and scholarship program to increase enrollment. But I think I should pause and just highlight some of the cost reduction measures that we have followed. We have frozen positions, rationalized course offerings, reduced the replacement of staff members on leave, eliminated courses with low enrollment, and as we are institutionally accredited with a very strong quality assurance and pedagogical renewal environment. The Faculty of Medical Sciences has professional program accreditation and recently earned accreditation from the National Committee on Foreign Medical Education, NCFMEA, of the US government. Our Faculty of Law has the greatest legacy, established legal database, and well-resourced library. We have very strong and demonstrable commitment to student-centeredness, improving the learning environment, and enhancing the pedagogical skills of our faculty members. We have, I should say, we enjoy strong tripartite relations with governments, the corporate sector, and civil society. We are very pleased about the 21st century state-of-the-art facilities for the academics and athletics of sport. We have comparatively high level of motivated faculty and staff. And when the registrar was reading out the honors and distinction, we had many staff members who gained these. Far too many for me to mention all of them, but and we had it captured there. And if you're not highly motivated, you wouldn't deliver. We have a solid senior management team with committed campus leaders and functional, beautiful infrastructure. And I just want to highlight some of our staff achievers. Here we have Mrs. Amanda Reefer from the Academy of Sport, accepting her Sports Administrator of the Year Award, the National Sports Council of Barbados, and Mr. Roland Butcher, a head coach of football, accepting the Alvin Burgess Club Award. And these are two of our staff members, just highlighting who got national recognition. We also have the recipients of the Principal Award for Excellence, Ms. Angela Rose of the Chronic Disease Research Center, a fantastic record and went into, I think it's Professor Landis, it's Guinea with the Ebola crisis. Mr. Kenneth Allen of Projects and Planning, always deliver when you want him on a job. Dr. Troy Lord, economist in the Faculty of Social Sciences, and Professor Evelyn O'Callaghan, Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education. But they only represent a snapshot of the staff on the campus. And I'm still on our strengths, because our staff, our faculty, staff, and students represent our strengths. And this one, every time I see this, I feel I would dive in. And when we are marketing the campus internationally, we speak a lot about our location and climate. We operate within a country with a very warm climate, excellent international and regional airline connections, and the campus is within 5 minutes of beautiful beaches. And that view is from the Errol Barrow Center for Creative Imagination. Another view will show you the Usain Bolt Sports Complex, but this one looks out to the sea. Another major feature that we are very proud of, we would say that we have relatively good social cohesion in our host country. The rule of law is well established. Organized crime relatively low, even though crime as it relates to guns and drugs are becoming more prevalent, and demonstrated readiness for technological change. I don't have to dwell on that, both internal to the campus and within the country. The staff, the SIT Center, the Information Technology Center, the competence, Wi-Fi connectivity, all those represent the strengths of the campus that we will bring to bear when we move to implement our major initiatives for the AAA strategic plan. And we have, in the context of the 2017-2022 AAA strategic plan, we have 3 set of major initiatives, and this represents one cluster. And in the first cluster, I'm calling it Solidifying the Foundation for a Smart Campus. And under this, Solidifying the Foundation for a Smart Campus, we are pursuing the renewal of the Faculty of Science and Technology. We are collaborating with the national, regional educational sectors to improve the performance of mathematics, and we are expanding the BSc in Software Engineering, Mobile Applications Technology. The second major cluster is under internationalization, and within that, we are looking at expansion of the provision of medical education, exploiting the new accreditation status that we have received. We are looking also at expansion of the programs of the Confucius Institute, and certainly in growing the English as second language programs. The third major cluster, and I'm only presenting 3 clusters, we have grouped it under agricultural, educational, entrepreneurship, and outreach. And the very first one there is development of the Agribusiness Science Park, commercialization of applied research, and establishing the Caville Office of Research and Innovation. And I know PVC Pro Vice Chancellor Weber of the Graduate School of the Postgraduate School for Research and Innovation is looking and is pleased to hear this, because we have agreed to do this in principle. We don't yet have the funds to operationalize, but we are going to move there. And the final one, the management of the sargassum influx. So these are the major initiatives that the Caville campus are going to pursue in the first 2 years of the new strategic plan. So let's look at developing the very first one, which I'm calling Solidifying the Foundation of the Smart Campus, and also pursuing the goals of access and agility. And the renewal of the Faculty of Science and Technology is critical to this. As you know, the Faculty of Science and Technology plays a critical role in a strategy to build a smart campus. Growth in science, technology, and innovation is foundational to the advance of Caribbean societies, but it is not the only area. It is not the only requirement for the flourishing of Caribbean societies. At the Caville campus, the growth in the liberal and fine arts, humanities, all of those are equally important, so that in our strategy, we are saying full steam ahead. because we are centering the arts fully within the growth of the sciences. And I'm happy to report, as it relates to the renewal of the Faculty of Science and Technology, that the Caribbean Development Bank has agreed to fund a feasibility study and design brief for the infrastructural renewal of the Faculty of Science and Technology. And I'm even happier to note that 2 weeks ago, we received from the bank the proposed implementation schedule for the project from preparation to completion, and that is completion of the design phase. The CDB knows that strengthening competencies in math, science, and engineering depends on modern facilities, especially laboratories. And like UWI, the bank recognizes the critical role of scientific teaching in the advance of our societies. So they are working with us to help us advance these facilities. And we expect a state-of-the-art facility befitting a 21st century campus that is fully smart and digitally equipped. Collaborating with our, collaborating with our colleagues and governments to improve the performance of mathematics in primary and secondary schools. Here you see Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology, Dr. Colin Depredine, who has taken the lead on that with his colleagues, because we recognize there is a core problem in Barbados and the Caribbean. There is the underperformance in in our national and regional primary and secondary schools in maths and sciences. The UNDP reports that the pass mark for mathematics at the CSEC level, between both mathematics and English, they're given a report. It is between the years 2005 to 2013 is 37% for mathematics, and for English it is 59%. We think that is highly unacceptable for both. For both, we think that it should be much higher, but of course, you see for mathematics it's too low. And the dean and his colleagues fully recognize that the output from the secondary school system, Minister, becomes the input into the university. Hence, they have taken the lead and organized and mounted a national symposium on mathematics in which they looked at how you could improve the curriculum and how you could improve delivery and performance. And they are also working with primary and secondary schools in the area of STEM to improve the syllabus and classroom delivery. The dean has also given me his assurance. In fact, I know they're working on taking the lead in doing a symposium for the region, but I won't steal his thunder, so when he reports, I will let him tell us some more about that. The second aspect in which the campus is playing a part in improving the skills of mathematics in the region is with the Caribbean Teachers Series, which emanate from the CSEC Mathematics video available on uwitube.com. We have a site where students can go online and look to get solutions and answers. The project harnesses the knowledge and experience of successful mathematics teachers and to benefit students and other teachers throughout the Caribbean. And here you see the leader of the project leader, Dr. Janak Soda, who is also the head of mathematics and computer science and physics, presenting a copy of the text to our Minister of Education in Barbados. And at the TAC in St. Lucia about 3 weeks ago, I presented 2 copies to St. Lucia and one to Jamaica. Chair, with this project also will have a regional text published, launched in January 2018. This one is written by Barbadian teachers. The next one will pull on teachers of mathematics throughout the region. But what I really like about this, Chair, it is regional publishing, so the revenue is not siphoned off and gone international, and it is developing capacity and skills within the Caribbean to benefit Caribbean citizens. And I really think this is an excellent example of educational entrepreneurship. Chair, the launch of the BSc in Software Engineering, Mobile Applications Technology is another plank in the building of the Smart Campus, and we have to thank the Vice Chancellor for his initiative and foresight in having this, in spearheading this. In September last year, this program was launched at the Caville campus and the Mona campus simultaneously. The students will do 2 years at the respective UWI campus, and they will do 2 years at the corresponding institute in Suzhou, China, followed by an internship. And here we see some of the students with Dr. Sylvia Henry, who is the oversight coordinator, the then academic coordinator. And what this program is doing is equipping the region with students with highly specialized skills. It has the potential to earn revenue for the campus and to promote bilingual and bicultural education. And we are also turning out the graduates who will build Caribbean societies. The second major cluster of initiatives are on access and agility through internationalization. And with this thrust, we want to recruit extra-regional students. Extra-regional students will never become the core of what we do. Our business is educating Caribbean students, and we will never move from that. But we have the capacity to educate extra-regional students, and we have a very good product, and we want them to come here and experience that. And last year, I reported on several initiatives that the campus had undertaken to strengthen the Faculty of Medical Sciences. And here we see the dean pretending to be a patient so one of his students could take his blood pressure. And we like that. And he looks very relaxed, and she looks very relaxed. So she's probably on her way to getting a very good degree. But we did a lot of work last year, and we saw it pay off, because when the dean was reporting, Caribbean applicants to do medicine at Caville doubled, and we had to turn them away because we respect the process that we have to use. But as I mentioned earlier, the Caville campus attained, Faculty of Medical Sciences attained accreditation from the NCF-MEA, National Committee on Foreign Medical Education. So we have double accreditation in that regard. We have the accreditation from the Caribbean Accreditation Authority for Education in Medicine and other health professionals. And we intend to exploit what that represents for the Caville campus. This double accreditation, we don't only want to treat it right here as a stamp of approval, but we want this to earn revenue for the campus and to have international students experience the quality medical education at Caville represent. And to plot the necessary steps to get there, Chair, I have appointed a rapid response team headed by Deputy Dean of the Faculty, Dr. Kenneth Connell. It involves Ms. Christiane Walcott, Mrs. Patricia Atherley, Mr. Chelson Lovell, Dr. Yolande Cook, Mr. Rommel Carter, and Ms. Janet Carew. Mr. Carter is holding his better smile for when we bring back the results. I like that, because when I report next year on all they have done, Mr. Carter is going to give us his full smile. But they're working very hard, and I get weekly updates from them already. They're already charting what has to be done so the Caville campus can have international students come here to study. I should tell you that since we had the accreditation from the NCF-MEA, what it means is that United States students can now borrow federal funds to come here to study. But if they come here to study right now, They can do the preclinical years. We need to have them return to the United States to do the clinical years. This rapid response team is working extremely hard to chart the steps to have that done. So stay tuned for those answers. It is coming. I have a lot of faith in them, and it demonstrates to you that what happens at Kayville is teamwork. We are very good at teamwork at Kayville, Chair. We are also expanding the programming and outreach of the Confucius Institute, and that is another serious plank in the campus preparing Caribbean young people to compete in the global world. Last year, I led a delegation to Beijing as guests of Hanban, the Confucius Institute headquarters, and we achieved many positive outcomes. But let me just highlight just some of them. We signed an MOU towards convening the first Caribbean-China Legal Forum and mounting a workshop on China commercial law, and I'm sure Dean Berry will tell us more, so I won't dwell here. But very importantly, we gain approval from Madame Shulin. She's a member of the Central Party of the Communist Party of China, head of the Confucius Institute International, and a Director General right here. And when we met and we put forward the proposal, she gave us permission. It was her initiative and decision, and she gave us permission for the Confucius Institute to become an HSK testing center. And for proficiency in the Mandarin language, it is only through HSK testing it can be done. And the Confucius Institute, at the time we got this, because she said, y'all are, you're not yet a year old, you're still a baby, but I like the work program and I like what y'all are doing, and I'm going to give you permission. And we had that permission, and the testing began last November, and students received certificates about their competencies. But the Confucius Institute has not only been doing HSK testing, it has been working in the national primary schools and secondary schools. So far, St. Stephen's Primary, and we see a very familiar PS, Mrs. June Chandler, and we like to have her here. We always like to have her at Kayville, and here she was with a student from St. Stephen's Primary. And three other secondary schools have also received that exposure. From last year, we started taking students to international university meetings in China. And here we have our Kayville students, which come from across the region. Not all of them took flags, but here we have the flag of Antigua, Barbados, Trinidad, and Tobago. I don't know if I see St. Vincent there, but I know there are others. I know that one of the young men was from Grenada. And what the Confucius Institute is doing is helping here. They're enjoying a meal in China, traditional meal, at the Great Wall of China, exposing our students to international experiences and preparing them for the global world. And of course, in May, Chair, you have to be around, and our other colleagues and Vice Chancellor, we are going to open the Confucius Institute building. And in May, we are also going to host a conference and chair a board meeting with some of our counterparts from China who are going to arrive for this. And the third plank of internationalization is the ESL programs. Now, our internationalization is strengthened by our growth of English as a second language immersion program. Besides the first Ecuadorian teachers who graduated, and here I want to point out Ms. Sonia Johnson and Dr. Stacy Denny, I think. Where's Dr. Denny? Yes. These two ladies have been instrumental, critical, and hardworking in delivering these programs. This cohort of Ecuadorian teachers spent 7 months here at Kayville and graduated. They were followed by a group of Panamanian students who spent 4 months in a similar program and graduated. But just Monday, Chair, this Monday, on March 6th, we welcome a second cohort of Panamanian students for another 4-month English training program. They will do 3 months solid immersion in English as a second language, and they will do a month of tourism awareness and fundamentals of business. But of course, when they do that month of tourism awareness, they go into the hotel sector and they're speaking English. And we are, of course, again, delivering the program with the full involvement of Barbados Tourism and Hotel Association. So when I told you earlier, we enjoy strong partnerships, tripartite partnerships. I'm giving you the proof of that because we work very collaboratively across all sectors. And with the English as a second language program, you see the circle. Historically, Barbadians went to Panama, and now Panamanians are coming back to Barbados, and we love it. And we want to go everywhere in here and abroad. The third major cluster of initiatives is, and again, dedicated to the goals of alignment and agility, and we are looking through educational, agricultural, educational, entrepreneurship, and outreach. Now, the research there, again, is very critical because it helps us to advance the financial health of the campus, but it also consolidates the collaborative relationships that we are developing, and they strengthen academic industry partnerships. And all of this, as it relates to the agricultural, educational, entrepreneurship, is happening under the leadership of Professor Leonard Ogaro. And I have to show you Professor Ogaro. He is right here between our deputy principal and Mrs. Edgil. This couple gifted us with the land at the Duke's Plantation, where we are rolling out an agribusiness park. And we held a brief ceremony to recognize them. We have campus registrar, Mr. Kenneth Walters, Dr. Jennifer Obida, our Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education. And I'm always happy when the campus bursar, Ms. Lisa Allen, is smiling. Dr. Robinson is not yet smiling here, but I'm also very pleased with his work. And Dr. Colin Depredine, Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology, and of course, Dr. David Berry, our Dean of Law. We do things as a team at K-ville. And the work of Dr. Ogaro on behalf of the campus in advancing our strategic objectives of alignment and agility with successful efforts of increasing academic industry partnership. And the first thing that one of the first activities of this program was the submission of a plan to the Town and Country Planning Office for the physical development of the 28 acres of land that the Edgils have gifted to us that is located at Duke Plantation in St. Thomas. Well, Chair and colleagues and Vice Chancellor, I know this project was also very dear to you. We have just received feedback from the Town and Country Planning on the physical development plan that has been submitted. And when you look at the plan, most of the land has been set aside for farmers and to do farm work. And here we will have the agribusiness park. They have just replied to us and asked us to do some further modifications as it relates to drainage and road work, and that is being worked upon. Again, I had reported, when I reported last year, we were just about to do this. Well, we have done it, we have had the feedback, and we anticipate approval by the end of this month. So again, God willing, when we report next year, we will be able to say some more things about this. But this is just one aspect of the work of the Center for Food Security and Entrepreneurship that enables us to advance educational entrepreneurship. But at some other areas of work, we are working with the farming sector, but some other areas of work is the building of artisan chocolate manufacturing. That's in development. Last year I told you that we were going to do leather from the black belly sheep. Well, that is coming. We are also looking at the genetic improvement of the Sea Island cotton. We are working with Eden Herbs in St. Lucia to develop the medicinal properties of the herbal sector, and we are working with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to halt the decline in arrowroot industry. Now, Chair, the campus has secured funding from the project from China Aid, but it was in the context of a bilateral agreement between the government of Barbados and the People's Republic of China, and the government of Barbados' involvement was led by our Minister of Education, and we want to thank him and the Permanent Secretary for the work they did to ensure that the campus was part of this project. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, PS. Now, the center, and when I say this, the campus through the center has launched the prototype for leather products. And this was a major hit when it was launched. I was asked to model it, and it was, I think, sheepskin. And I think it's preparation for post-retirement work. It may be for BARP or something. But if the public reaction to this, if it is anything to go by, when we move from prototype to production, this will be a major hit. And we understand for the very first time we participated in the annual AgroFest. And again, when people turned up, they were asking where they could buy the goods. And there are two well-known members of the public who were captured visiting AgroFest. They look sort of familiar, especially this man here and his lovely wife, but they visited the booth, and the campus's participation in AgroFest again underscores our partnership with governments and civil society. In developing the leather industry, and part of when people hear that this is coming from UWI, we are developing a brand consciousness of UWI and changing the image of UWI as not only of the Cavell campus is only academics, and we are showing that the value added that we bring. And of course, collaborating with the private sector, because private sector funded was used to develop this. So Professor Ogaro works on the ideas and the prototypes and put businessmen in touch with each other to add value to agricultural production and agribusiness. And the other area in this regard is the commercialization of research. And again, I think I will let the dean speak to this, the idea for looking at applied research and innovation. The dean is developing a proposal. I'll just mention it, but I will let him elaborate. I am, in fact, extremely proud of this development in the faculty, a new network of women in science and technology. Just because I'm impartial and not at all biased, I love the fact that the faculty intends to break apart gender stereotypes about women in science and technology and to improve on the representation of women and persons with disabilities in STEM-related disciplines. Last year, I reported to you on the sargassum influx. Well, I'm very happy to report this year, Chair and colleagues, that the CERBES, the Center for Resource Management and Environmental Studies, have worked on the follow-up. We had promised a follow-up, and they have worked on the follow-up, and they have produced a management brief that was circulated in collaboration again with regional and international partners, and this management brief was distributed to all ministries of agriculture, fisheries, and tourism throughout the region, and we have had very positive feedback, and in fact a letter of invitation came in from the government of Trinidad and Tobago so that our colleagues at CERMES could visit fishermen in Toko and talk to them about the management of the sargassum influx. And this is the kind of work we want to do. And Chair, our students are our greatest assets. The key initiatives that I've spoken about are all built on the core values of student-centeredness, integrity, excellence, and diversity. Our students are all bedrock. They are the reason why we are here. And so just before I conclude, I'd like to just inform you what we have done in terms of student-centeredness to improve the learning and teaching and leisure environment, grow student enrollment, enhance our financial viability, and remain competitive and relevant in this very trying climate. But our students are the reason why we are here. And in the second annual issue of the Chill magazine, this issue will continue to focus on our students. We are very proud of all our students. With all their flaws and everything, we know that they're the next generation, and a lot of them give us a lot of reason to be very proud. And one of them is Miss Simone Delsin, who is, well, you can see she was president of the UWI Stat Ambassadors, but she's a student of the Faculty of Science and Technology. It seems like this year is the year of the Faculty of Science and Technology, Dean. This is your year. And this student is also the Caribbean Commonwealth 2017 Rhodes Scholar. And we are very pleased to have the Caribbean Commonwealth Rhodes Scholar for 2017 be a student of the Kayville campus. The Kayville campus is an inclusive campus in which student-centeredness is part of our DNA. Within resource constraints, we do whatever is feasible to improve the learning and leisure environment for our students. We are not a degree mill, and we are not educational carpetbaggers. The Caribbean is not the flavor of the month for us. We are an intrinsic part of this region, and we are here to stay. When our students graduate, we intend for them to be confident, conscious, knowledgeable, informed Caribbean and international citizens, ready to live, work, play, and lead globally. In this picture here, just last week, we launched the University of the West Indies Kayville Association for Persons with Disabilities, and very proud of this young lady who is the president. All of this underscore, when I say we are student-centered, we are really student-centered, and we care very much of creating a positive and accommodating climate for our students. We were able to complete some minor works. We completed the west stand of the Usain Bolt complex, and while this is primarily used by our students, we earn some revenue, not exorbitant rates, by renting it to schools for their school sports. And if you looked at the papers throughout February, you will see many pictures like this because they were using it, and we were very happy to have these youngsters here, because whenever I run into them, I tell them, I have a Kayville ID waiting for you. How old are you? If they tell me 10, I say, well, tell me your name so I could put your ID number and your name, and we keep it for when you come up here. So we are very happy to have these students come here and use the facilities and get used to a university environment. We also did some updates. We are providing the students with a brand new gym. But what I really like about the gym is the fact that it will be fully accessible for persons with mobile challenges, including bathroom facilities. We upgraded the lunchroom in the medical science complex, and we also put a student lounge. Now, in response, and this was the initiative of our campus librarian, Dr. Greta Pash, in response to the need for more study spaces, we opened a brand new study space in the Sidney Martin Library and upgraded the study space in the Medical Science Complex. Both operate as 24/7 reading rooms, and the students have access with their IDs. They swipe, and we have campus security patrolling to ensure that they are safe. In this is in the Sidney Martin Library, the converted space, and you have a sense of the depth. At any one time, it can accommodate 50 students. You can see there are whiteboards, there are many plugs. We have done everything that we could to make our students very comfortable. The Office of Student Services is undertaking excellent work, including job fairs, And one of the things I'm very proud that they have done is that every year they grow the internship program. So just in the current year we are reviewing, they placed many students in internship, with the largest group going to 18 students were placed in the Answer Macal group of companies. We thank all these companies for providing opportunities for our students to gain valuable experience. In terms of pedagogical renewal, ensuring that our students receive the very best learning possibilities, our Settle, again, under the leadership of the director, Mrs. Patricia Atherley, and with Dr. Sylvia Henry as an able partner, they ensure that our faculty graduate with a certificate in university teaching and learning. And the Cavell campus to date has graduated 126 faculty members with this certificate. And currently, we have another 70 faculty members pursuing this. So again, when I tell you that Cavell pays attention to the quality environment, I can prove it because we do. We have also done a lot of work again to combat the falling enrollment because of the students having to pay tuition fees. And so we have organized career fairs, introduced payment plans, brought financial partners on board. One of the key areas, internally, we have also provided scholarships and grants. But one of the key areas of support is the higher education assistance grant provided by the government of Barbados and the Ministry of Education. And we have found that our students didn't know enough about it, so we have been publicizing it. With this grant currently, students whose annual income, if they come from a household with an annual income of $25,000 or less, the government will pay the tuition fees for them. And we have to get that word out there. I have also written to the Minister of Education, and I anticipate support and look forward to that support, that to raise the threshold. Thank you, Minister. To raise, this is the first I'm hearing it. I see that hand. Let's thank the Minister, please. So we will have the threshold raised from 25,000 to 35,000, so more students will qualify. Because we know that some of the students, they haven't followed through. Once they hear there was an imposition of tuition fees, they had to pay tuition fees, they sort of ran away without realizing that there are a lot of support mechanisms in place. And this support mechanism that has been put in place by the government of Barbados last year, and many, many donors, some anonymous, and some who have allowed us to know who they are, have created scholarships to support our students. So students out there, potential students, come to Cavell. We are ready for you, and we have various mechanisms to support you. Now, also to support our students from the OECS, we have established the Dwight Venner Memorial Scholarship to honor the legacy of Sir Dwight Venner, who was the longest serving governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, but at the time he passed, principal, was also chair of the Open Campus Council. And what we are trying to do, we want to build, we are honoring him as a UWI man. He graduated from UWI, and he was very much a UE man and OECS man. We are building capacity for in economic analysis and banking and finance, and we are honoring his legacy. And this scholarship joins the Sir Arthur Lewis scholarships that are already in existence to support the OECS students from the OECS, because the Cavell campus takes very seriously its mandate to educate. We will educate you if you come from Finland and Timbuktu, but we have a special outreach for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. And again, continuing our theme of student-centeredness, we celebrate student achievements. We have started sending a letter to every graduating student from the principal, saying congratulations, but inviting feedback. And the feedback has been coming. Some has been very sobering, but I am listening, we are listening, and when I get it, I share it. We have also students who are selected for Barbados Scholarship, and exhibition winners. We invite them to a reception and we thank them for choosing K-ville. Just something little, talk to the principal and the deputy principal, the bursar and the registrar, because if you're a scholarship holder, you will study anywhere, the government of Barbados will pay for you. So if you choose to study at K-ville, we thank you for doing so. And last year, we introduced a special little celebration for the persons who got first class honors, high commendation at the PhD, and distinction at the master's level. And you see them there with the university's chancellor. And finally, I just want to highlight the achievements of the K-ville Blackbird athletes. Let me just say they excel. They excel. The Blackbird team won the Barbados Football Association Digicel Premier League competition for men, with an outstanding performance by the captain, Mario Hart, who tallied 29 goals for a team record. 7 players were selected for national duty, and another, 1 for Grenada and 1 for Anguilla. In cricket, thank you, Vice Chancellor. After completing an unprecedented sweep, see a little mascot in the middle there, the Sagicor UWI Blackbird cricketers returned to 2016 to win the Sagicor General T20 and BCA Intermediate Division. And the women cricketers, and Mr. Lovell and Ms. Carew, I am having problems getting pictures of the women cricketers. So I want pictures of the women too. They won the Iris Walker Memorial 50 over and T20 in March 16. But the Chill has a picture of the woman cricketer. And the UWI Blackbird netball team also had an outstanding season. They enjoyed a very successful season. They won the Barbados Netball Association Division League Senior Knockout and Division 5 competition. Again, 6 players were selected for the Barbados national team. And in talking about our student achievers, I think this is a good time to pause and invite our deputy principal and deans to give their report. And I know our deputy principal will tell you more about the UWI Games, which all I'll say, they are coming. They are coming to K-ville. Thank you, colleagues.
Principal, before the deputy principal and the dean speak, I think that we all need to give you another round of applause for an excellent presentation.
Chair, thank you, and I'm pleased to report to Council on the departments under the remit of the Deputy Principal's Office. These are geared towards ensuring that the students of the K-ville campus are provided with the support necessary for their academic success and their holistic development. The departments under my office include the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, the Office of Student Services, the Student Health Clinic, and the UWI HIV/AIDS response program called UWI Harp. The programs in these departments therefore enhance the teaching and learning environment and provide vital student support services and promote healthy lifestyles. Let me begin with activities undertaken out of the Office of the Deputy Principal itself. The Deputy Principal's Office helped engage students with the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, through a field promotion project in 2015-2016. This is a collaborative project between CARICOM and the national focal points of the CSME, and it is designed to allow students from the Caribbean region to gain practical knowledge of the CSME by touring and making inquiries into the operations of authorities in 2 states, that is, their country of origin and the country being visited. In 2015-2016, the K-ville campus selected 18 students to travel on a mission to Jamaica, accompanied by lecturer in the Faculty of Social Sciences, Mrs. Ayana Young-Marshall. During their mission to Jamaica, the students visited a number of authorities where they investigated good practices and assessed the challenges experienced by the entities they visited. Chair, the students would conduct a comparative analysis of the differences or similarities between Barbados and Jamaica, including recommendations and solutions to some of the challenges being experienced. And these are being compiled into a report with the assistance of the National CSME Focal Point and Mrs. Young Marshall to be published on the CSME website. Also in my office, I wish to report on the UWI Regional Task Force on Zika. Now, this is a university-wide task force that was announced by the Vice-Chancellor on February the 10th, 2016, in the wake of the declaration by the WHO that Zika was now considered a health emergency of international concern. The Vice-Chancellor appointed me to chair the task force, and so it fell to the Cave Hill campus, with the full support of the principal, to actually launch the task force at a symposium on March the 4th and 5th last year at the Hilton Barbados. Before I go any further, I really must thank my office staff, consisting of Kerry-Ann Haynes-Knight, Margaret Mongerie, and Valerie Hunt, who really went above and beyond all known calls of duty to pull off this symposium within the space of a few weeks. The symposium was able to pull together a wide range of Caribbean stakeholders, including representatives from CARICOM, regional ministries of health, ministries of tourism, the Caribbean Tourism Organization, donor agencies, and regional and international public health agencies. The symposium was really underpinned by a tremendous spirit of cooperation in the face of this common enemy. And we were able to define roles and responsibilities and demarcate where the different groups would work. I think this really helped the Caribbean get ahead of the epidemic, and the university really received a very positive reaction from regional stakeholders like CARICOM and the Pan American Health Organization. Chair, I wish to just read a short excerpt from the following appraisal offered by the Minister of Health, John Boyce. I quote, "I want to take this opportunity to commend the leadership of the University of the West Indies for taking the initiative to set up a Zika task force of this nature at this time. Your engagement in this issue demonstrates that above academic research in scholarly journals, the university is performing the role of a public academy, through which your work will be for the direct consumption and benefit of the wider public. The task force is still continuing its work after the emergency phase, and we're very pleased that we have been invited by the Caribbean Examination Council to submit a new module on mosquito prevention, which will be included at the next revision of the Caribbean Secondary School's integrated science syllabus. The only sad note is that the task force lost one of its most valuable members, Professor Dave Chady, which had been mentioned. He's better known as the Mosquito Man, the leading expert from this hemisphere. And the forthcoming book from the Zika task force, entitled One Environment, One Health, Informing the Caribbean Response to Zika, will be dedicated in the memory of Dave Chady. Staying on the area of promoting healthy lifestyles, Chair, I wish to turn to the work of the Student Health Clinic. The Student Health Clinic last year rolled out a new health initiative aimed at protecting women against cervical cancer. There were 2 free sessions. These were held in September and October of last year in collaboration with the Ministry of Health to sensitize staff on the immunization benefits of human papilloma immunization. And 112 persons received vaccinations, and they would then be referred for subsequent follow-ups through their polyclinics. The UWI HARP, UWI HIV/AIDS Response Program, also collaborated and continued its collaboration with the Ministry of Health in undertaking HIV and sexually transmitted disease infection counseling and testing sessions, which are offered to students every semester. And in the period, 4 Ministry of Health counsellors held sessions over the week, and we actually performed 1,306 tests on our student body. This is an ongoing activity promoting the health of our student body. On the area of enhancing teaching and learning, the Center of Excellence in Teaching and Learning under the leadership of Patricia Atherley has already been mentioned, I think, quite a lot by the principal. And I think I will maybe just say that even when you get your certificate, and we have 126 and more to come lecturers in our faculty who are certified in the postgraduate certificate in university teaching and learning, even after they get this, they are reminded every Monday. We have this thing called Monday morning mentoring, where the SETL will encourage them to use what they've learned in terms of blended teaching and learning, which is, again, completely consistent with these modalities of teaching which a smart campus you would expect. In terms of providing student support, the Office of Student Services provides a number of services to our student body. And these are in terms of development of the student in terms of their career, and also any experiences where they require support to complete their studies. So we celebrate our students' scholarship and other prize winners every year. And last year's annual student award ceremony was held under the theme of celebrating excellence, promoting pride in industry, obviously in keeping with the anniversary year. And the feature address was delivered by Alex MacDonald. He is, in fact, a UWI Cave Hill campus alumnus, and he is chair of the Barbados Private Sector Association. I think everyone can agree who was there that his speech was outstanding, entertaining, and ultimately inspiring. He is simply a great example of what our Cave Hill graduates can go on to become. 87 students were the recipients of scholarship awards and prizes. Let me finish with the activities of the student services. The job fair has already been mentioned, and I would maybe just add a few numbers. There are actually over 1,000 students who attended the jobs fair, and a total of 35 companies from the private sector that participated. So I really think that this speaks to what the principal already alluded, that we interact well with the private sector, and we're very concerned with the career and development of our students after they leave us. In terms of student hardship, the Hardship Fund is administered through the Office of Student Services, and in the year, 30 students applied for financial assistance through the Hardship Fund and received assistance to the value of $49,200. 5 students would have received scholarships based on academic merit and financial need, and 17 students would have been awarded assistance which is for subsistence from the Student Hardship Fund in the amount of $500 each. 2 students were the recipients of grants from UWI Seniors. We have many aspects of our community who are involved in supporting students, and 2 students also received book grants through the Hardship Fund. Finally, in the Office of Student Services, this saw the launch last year, Chair, of the Adopt a Student Fund. The fund is fully financed by contributions from the faculty and the staff of the campus, and it is designed to assist students with their daily expenses associated with attending the school. Within the first 4 months of forming the Adopt a Student Fund, it had accumulated more than $7,000. And so, before I wrap up with the games, I do wish to express my sincere appreciation on behalf of the whole campus for everyone in the Cave Hill staff and faculty who contributed so generously to the Adopt a Student Fund. Vice-Chancellor, I hope you forgive me when I speak about the UWI Games that I just briefly suspend objectivity. And I think in this room, I don't think people will mind when I say that we intend to win these games for Cave Hill. But the student games bring together 600 athletes from our 4 campuses, 150, yes, apologies to the principal of the Open Campus as well, 150 athletes from each campus, and actually this is a very nice note to end on. The Open Campus is fully represented for the first time this year. So we're looking forward to the student games. They are being held in May and June. Thank you, Chair. I extend my privilege.
Thank you, Professor Landis. If I can invite all of the deans now to make their individual reports.
Academic year 2015-16 was another challenging but rewarding year for the Faculty of Social Sciences at the Cave campus of UWI. It was a year in which the faculty celebrated 40 years of existence with a range of celebratory and developmental activities, and we continue to play a central role in the advancement of the Cave Hill campus and UWI. However, it was also a year in which the faculty again faced significant declines in student enrollment, as Barbados, the OECS, and the wider Caribbean continues to wrestle with the modalities of funding higher education. Despite these challenges, the faculty made a number of improvements in the area of teaching and learning, recorded a significant increase in its research and publication output, as well as the global impact of that research, and we also maintained the traditionally high levels of outreach and public service. In the area of teaching, learning, and student development, in the face of a new reality where students, with the exception of those from Trinidad and Tobago, now finance their own tuition fees, the faculty continued to focus on marketing the value of a university education to students and promoting and expanding the range of financing opportunities. What we found as we delve into this surprisingly is that while we rightly focus on the ability and capacity of students to pay, there's also a dimension of the willingness to pay, and we certainly found that we have to spend some time convincing persons that this is something it's worth sacrificing and spending on, as well as encouraging a degree of get up and go among students to track down this funding. There is funding out there, but we found like having to simply go and fill out a form, sort of turn people off and so on. So we felt that need to press on the willingness to pay and the get up and go was an important aspect. In terms of the capacity to pay, the faculty wants to publicly express its gratitude to Corporate Barbados for their continued support. We want to highlight the support of the Barbados Public Workers Credit Union, which continues to disburse in excess of $1 million a year in tuition support for its members as scholarship funds and not loans. We are also extremely grateful to the City of Bridgetown Credit Union, Coates Barbados, and the Royal Bank of Canada, which responded with new scholarships valued at $75,000, $30,000, and $15,000 respectively. In an extremely important development for our students, the campus signed an MOU with the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, the ACCA, under their Accelerate initiative. This MOU allows for early registration to the ACCA's professional accounting program with discounted prices for UWI students. Students are already accessing this important benefit and accessing their route to accounting certification. In terms of research and innovation, during academic year 2015-2016, the faculty published 63 refereed articles and book chapters, and we are quite pleased with the continued improvement in the research and publication output. The 63 articles this year represents a 10% increase over the previous year, and there had been a 35% increase in the previous year. However, despite these improvements, we are still well short of the benchmark of 1.5 papers per staff member, and we are committed to enhancing that level of productivity. Particularly pleasing, however, is the increased number of citations of our work. We are pleased to note 1,492 new citations in this academic year, and it appears that our strategy of registering our work on widely used academic sharing networks such as Google Scholar, Social Science Research Network, and ResearchGate appear to be paying dividends. In terms of outreach and public service, the faculty continue to engage with a variety of external stakeholders. We want to highlight the PROCEED program, the promotion of capacity and energy education development in the Caribbean region, The faculty members have been going around the region providing training in terms of energy modeling, and we've been extremely impactful in that area. We also saw a number of high-profile public lectures during 2015-16. Some highlights were an unfinished business, Patrick Emanuel and Caribbean Political Thought, by the esteemed and renowned Professor V. Udine Barito. Societies thrive when the dignity and rights of all people are respected, by Dr. Anicia Gill Geddes of the CDB. Tropical Storm Erica, Psychological Consequences and First Respondents, by Dr. Griffin Benjamin, Consultant Psychologist Dominica. The EU Migration Crisis, by Professor Lino Brigillo, from the Director of the Islands and Small States Institute of the University of Malta. Improving the Federal Reserve's Forecast, by Dr. Neil Erickson, the Deputy Head of the U.S. Federal Reserve. Barbados, Between Growth and Development, by Professor Jay Mandel. He is the Bradford Wiley Professor of Economics at Colgate University. And Digital Currencies, Technology and Macroeconomics, by Professor Simon Johnson, the former IMF Chief Economist, and now Professor of Entrepreneurship at MIT. And that was a considered change in our approach. While the faculty is well known for its outreach, we're making a conscious effort to raise the profile by having more international and high-profile speakers. In terms of employee engagement, the faculty and departmental offices continue to ensure that annual performance reviews were undertaken for all academic and admin staff and timely feedback provided, because this had been identified as the major area of weakness in the most recent employee engagement exercise. We do work, Chair, but the faculty continue to seek to foster greater collegiality among colleagues through a regular program of limes and parties and a Christmas party for the children of the members of the faculty. And finally, in terms of internal operating processes, the faculty engaged in a comprehensive review of the student application and admission process. The exercise saw a number of tangible recommendations aimed at improving access for students. Specifically, recommendations were made and accepted in terms of exemptions for CAPE and students with associate degrees, and a more streamlined process for students with associate degrees from recognized community colleges. And as we come to the end of this strategic planning cycle, what I would want to suggest, Chair, I think in the last cycle or two, the faculty, I think the campus and UWI, we've made a quantum leap in terms of teaching and learning, where I think we now need to make another quantum leap, particularly in the areas of research and publication and the internal operating processes. But what I want to stress, though, is that that leap in teaching and learning was really built around significant institutional support. We've heard about the mention of SETTLE, also rewards and, not necessarily punishments, but staff members being required to do SETTLE, CUTTLE, renewal of contract being contingent on completing CUTTLE. And I think if we want to make a quantum leap in these other areas, we might want to look at similar institutional support mechanisms as well as rewards and incentives in those areas. So in summary, academic year 2015-16 was challenging but rewarded. As urged by you, Principal, I'm pleased to report that we have refused to be defined by the current financial circumstances. We have increased our research output and enhanced the impact of such research. We have maintained our engagement with the wider society. We continue to make strides in enhancing the academic quality of our programs and enhancing the quality of the student experience. The successes are due to the efforts of our dedicated academic and administrative staff, working in partnership with the rest of the campus. I am satisfied that the faculty has succeeded in maintaining a high level of teaching, research and publication, outreach and public service. The faculty remains committed to such and seeks to build a culture of continuous improvement as we seek to create graduates of competence, compassion, and conscience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. will review the 2015-16 report of the Faculty of Law, and I take it as read. A considerable amount of the faculty's 2015-16 report is dedicated to providing an overview of the faculty's Impact Justice Project. Now, the Impact Justice Project is a Canadian $19 million project directed by the Caribbean Law Institute Centre, and it is, as far as I'm aware, the largest single funded project undertaken by the University of the West Indies. The team implementing the Impact Justice Project under the direction of Professor Newton have engaged in a wide range of activities in a number of areas. Impact Justice has assisted with the drafting of model laws, with enhancing competence in legislative and treaty drafting, with training for consolidation of laws, with improving gender sensitivity, with surveying the needs of regional legal education, and with enhancing legal databases and online publications. Impact Justice has also provided legal materials and training to law libraries across the region and sponsored legal conferences and public education. Impact Justice also enhanced alternative dispute resolution training, including training in mediation, arbitration, and restorative practices. These activities reached twice the targeted audience, impacting, no pun intended, close to 8,000 persons. Now, in terms of undergraduate admissions and performance, perhaps as a continued response to the implementation of tuition fees for Barbadian students, LLB admission numbers have dropped slightly from last year's figures to 145 students in 2015-16. Nevertheless, the faculty's undergraduate student body remains at an appropriate size, over 500 students in total, and continues to reflect the diversity of the region in terms of age and national origin. Students in the LLB program hailed from 14 Caribbean states and territories and 5 international locations. As a result, the faculty remains the most regionally diverse faculty on campus and most likely in the university as a whole. This regional composition, combined with our strong regional legal curriculum, remain some of the faculty's greatest strengths. In a similar vein, undergraduate student academic performance has remained strong and was reflected in a large number of students making the Dean's List. Solid academic performance was reflected in graduation data, and the faculty has sought to give its students the best legal education through continued improvements in its curriculum, through things such as course revision and the creation of new courses, and through innovative teaching in its comparative law summer program held in collaboration with the Washburn School of Law. In terms of postgraduate admissions and performance, new postgraduate registration dropped slightly but remained at acceptable levels. The faculty continues to lead in legal research degrees, with 4 students being registered in the PhD program. It also leads in course-based programming, with 69 students being registered in its LLM degrees. Regional and international diversity were also well reflected in the student body, which comprised students from 11 Caribbean states and territories and 1 international jurisdiction, Germany. Graduation statistics remain strong, with 46 successful LLM graduates, 3 of whom achieved distinction. 1 PhD student also graduated in the period under review. The University LLM, which was pioneered by Cave Hill, grew in terms of course offerings. St. Augustine increased its collaboration with Cave Hill and offered more courses in the program. Mona, you will be pleased to hear, joined this program in the present academic year, and hence the University LLM continues to grow and develop. In terms of academic staff and internal processes, in terms of publications and other activities, the faculty's 15 full-time academic staff members, which you'll note is a fairly small body of academic staff, produced a number of high-quality publications and engaged in a range of academic and professional activities over the course of the year. These activities included the presentation of over 34 papers to conferences and other gatherings, which amounts to a per capita average of over 2 papers per year in the 2015-16 academic year. Now, in terms of the SMART campus, during the period under review, the faculty continued and improved upon some of its innovations, including its system of paperless teaching and a revised timetabling methodology. Now, unfortunately, I'm happy to say the principal has stolen my thunder here because I was going to talk about the student that you saw highlighted in the video presentation. And it was with great pride that I saw that PowerPoint program. I am actually taking the Cuttle course myself, and I saw it in course 3 of the Cuttle courses, and I must confess, tears welled up in my eyes with pride when I saw that. I should note, and I would not want to prejudice anything, but I should note that if the student continues in her present trajectory, not only will she be the first legally blind or visually impaired student to graduate from the Faculty of Law, but she should graduate with a very high-class degree. In terms of outreach, the faculty attracted several guest speakers who presented in areas of legal research, including capital punishment, public procurement law, and the interaction of trade and health law. The faculty engaged in a number of activities to build stronger links, specifically with Chinese legal bodies last year, including the China Law Society, the China University of Political Science and Law, and the Collaborative Innovative Center of Judicial Civilization, and the Hanban, which is the headquarters of all Confucius Institutes globally. In our report to Campus Council, the published report, I indicate that the faculty hopes, or hoped at that point, to capitalize upon these activities by starting a China-Caribbean moot court competition and by inviting Chinese legal academics to visit the Cave Hill campus. I am pleased to announce today that the first ever Caribbean-China International Moot Court Competition will be held in May this year at the Cave Hill campus, just after the meeting of the board of the Confucius Institute. We very much look forward to welcoming 2 teams, which will be sent by the China University of Political Science and Law, and these teams will compete with 2 Cave Hill teams. And a number of colleagues will be coming from CUPL, from China, and they have indicated that they would like to engage in a legal seminar as well. So it looks like there will be several academic activities related to Chinese developments, including Chinese law. Now, I should also highlight a further development from our 2015-16 report. Members of Campus Council will note that the faculty decided to cancel its international mooting program last year as a result of the financial difficulties facing the campus. This was a difficult and perhaps disappointing decision on the part of the faculty because of our success in international moots traditionally. This year, however, I am very pleased to inform you that the faculty is sending teams to 4 international moot court competitions. We are sending a team to the Caribbean Court of Justice Moot Court Competition, the Inter-American Human Rights Moot Court Competition, the Willem C. Viz International Commercial Arbitration Moot Court Competition, and the just announced Caribbean-China International Moot Court Competition. I should also add, as a personal note, I am the moot coach for the Caribbean Court of Justice Moot Competition team, and that my mooting team is right now competing in Trinidad and Tobago. I have been unable to attend because of this Campus Council meeting, but I warn you in advance that if I get a call on my cell phone with good news, I may have to interrupt Campus Council to convey this good news. In terms of outreach, I can say with pleasure that the Caribbean Commercial Law Workshop, in its 15th year last year, 16th year this year, staged another exciting legal gathering at the Hilton Barbados Resort. The workshop theme was linked to Barbados Independence celebrations, and as a result, we hosted our first opening ceremony, which was attended by the Governor General, ministers, including a representative from the Prime Minister's office, the Chief Justices, and other legal luminaries. The workshop comprised 7 panels in which speakers presented 21 papers on a wide range of commercial and corporate law topics. It was well attended, attracting persons from across the region and internationally, and remained profitable. During the same week as the workshop, the faculty seized the opportunity to co-sponsor 2 other events. We held an offshore law roundtable presented by the Caribbean branch of the International Law Association, and an expert arbitration course presented by the Barbados branch of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. By combining these 3 activities in a single week, the faculty provided increased opportunities for all attendees and enhanced the value of the workshop. In terms of cooperation agreements and MOUs, I can report that the faculty has continued its assistance of the Department of Law of the University of Guyana, but wound down by mutual agreement its relationship with the College of the Bahamas. Finally, in terms of benefactors, the faculty was very grateful to receive the Dr. Joseph S. Archibald QC Memorial Scholarship and was able to offer 4 Students Trust Fund Law bursaries, one which was donated by 2 members of academic staff. The faculty also expresses its gratitude to the widow of Mr. Stan Michelini, who further supported the Michelini Family Prizes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Barry. If we could just now ask Dean Depperdine.
Thank you, Chair. Let me start with the issue of registration numbers. Like my colleagues here, the faculty did see a decline in numbers registered, but I'm pleased to say that that decline was about half as much as the prior year. And this year we saw a slight increase of about 20 students. So I would like to think that that's a plateauing of our decline. But I would say that that increase, I would like to personally thank the faculty members or the staff within the faculty, ATS and academic, who have put in a lot of work, especially in outreach. So for example, every summer we have an in-reach program where we invite students from the secondary schools, mostly 4 forms, to come in, and we have full participation across the board. So last summer we had about 150 plus students visit, whereas when it started, it was only 20 students. Continuing on with that, in terms of publications, our publication rate remains essentially the same as last year, roughly 33 journals, 20 conference proceedings, etc. It may appear that that's not much of an improvement, but if you look at what's going on, we see an increase in the number of faculty who are working with each other within the faculty, and henceforth we can't double represent the numbers in the reports. But there also is an increase of faculty working with other faculties in the research, which indicates, which is a widely known fact, that STEM can touch every and everything. And so I'm glad to see that my faculty is doing that. With respect to research, I would like to highlight one activity that took place last academic year in early 2016. The faculty hosted Dr. Felicity Crawford from Wheelock College in Boston, who came to this side of the world to conduct studies on the academic experiences of adults with dyslexia in tertiary institutions. And it was in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation. It really was a study to document the success of tertiary level students with dyslexia in Barbados, and it will expand to the Eastern Caribbean. But I mentioned that because one of the major outcomes of this study was improvements in policy and procedural changes within the faculty and how we accommodate students with disabilities, both physical and learning. We do have a lot of work to do, but we have made a good start. With respect to teaching, learning, and student development, under the Computer Science Society of the faculty, we had a mobile app development workshop last year in conjunction with a company called Extension Engine, this company is out of Boston, and they focus on the development of online education software. And the aim of the workshop was to expose our students to the skills necessary to build and deploy a mobile application on open source industry standard platforms. These platforms are used by industry as well. And so this speaks to our efforts to make sure that our students come out with that applied experience for which we have been criticized over the years for not providing. But we do provide it in the courses as well, I should say. This statement now can lead me to the next statement. What I should say is that this proves that we do have the ability when it comes to the applied research for producing solutions for the region. This same Computer Science Society has built apps for various activities on the campus, which leads me now to an activity that the principal mentioned, and that is the expansion of applied sciences. This year, we are hoping to launch an initiative which we've codenamed FST 2048. There's a computer science joke in there somewhere. I'll leave that for later. But nevertheless, the faculty has, and by extension, I think the region, has reached a point now where we must evolve and move beyond our traditional area of focus. We've been focusing a lot on the pure sciences and to a limited extent the applied sciences. But if we want STEM to really progress, we really need to get the applied sciences moving, because that is what leads to the issue of commercialization and entrepreneurship. So FST 2048 is our first step in being the catalyst. It will act as the catalyst to jumpstart that process. And really and truly, we'll be focusing primarily on the private sector in this case, as well as the public sector, but primarily the private sector, where we are looking to partner with them on the implementation side. So in other words, this is not going to be about talking, this is about implementing real solutions using science and technology and incorporating other faculties as well. And our first event this year is focusing on rebuilding that relationship with the faculty and the private sector, so we'll act almost as a business meeting, so to speak, and where we will be strengthening our relationship with them, as I said before, and seeking possible avenues of collaboration. I mean, it's early days yet, so that may not be as high as we would like at that point. We will also be using the opportunity to dispel the myths that surround the faculty with regards to applied science. We do have a lot of applied science going on. The unfortunate thing is we never publicize it. And so we'll be almost having like a convention where we'll be displaying some of the ideas we have or are implementing. At the same time, we'll be launching the Women in Technology Network, which the principal mentioned. And the primary focus of this grouping is the private sector. Well, let me start again. Let's just say that the membership should be primarily female professionals from the private sector, but we would also include the public sector and the university. And the objective here is to deal with the biases that exist in this side of the region that favor males with respect to the science and technology careers. We have noticed that a number of our female students leave the technology subjects especially, and then proceed to, after entering the workforce, to drop out of the area and proceed to other areas such as accounting, etc. This is not good. This is not a good thing to happen if we want to really move STEM forward. So this network is about mentoring. It's about establishing relationships with those in the sector who have had years of experiences dealing with this issue and to bring awareness to the situation. I should say that the faculty is not just talking to talk, we walk the walk. So for this year, we had Ms. Tonya Arthur graduate with an MPhil in computer science. Why that is so important is that she's only the second female to graduate with a research degree in computer science for over 23 years. And we have another student, Ms. Edward, has submitted her MPhil recently as well, and we have 3 females who are doing the PhD in computer science, one close to completion. So I would like to congratulate them on that effort. Moving on, science cannot exist without mathematics. So the first thing I would like to say, this is under finance / teaching student centeredness. The faculty held, as the principal mentioned, a math symposium. I should say that the Ministry of Labor, Social Security and Human Resource Development, under its Human Resource Development Initiative funded by the EU, funded this exercise. So I would like to thank them for that. And essentially that was to begin the process of looking at the issues affecting teaching, learning, and use of mathematics. And I emphasize use because mathematics is not just about the learning of it, but its use within the private sector, public sector, etc. And we had a good discussion. I have to admit, twice as many people turned up as I thought would turn up. And online, there was we had an online chat going on at the same time, and it was a very fierce and I don't want to say vicious discussion, but it was going on and on among the public about the importance of maths, and the public is well aware of the importance of mathematics. So they're just waiting on us to move on it. But I've learned some lessons from that, and one of the lessons is how to maintain momentum afterwards. It's proving a little bit difficult, as well as, even though I saw twice as many people, the numbers are a little small compared to launching many of the things we would like to do. So we'll move on now to the next step, and that's to have a regional mathematics symposium next academic year. What is important about this is not just the symposium itself, which looks at the issues of mathematics across the board, across all faculties, private, public sector, but also the process that will lead up to that. We really want to make sure that when the symposium hits, we hit the ground running, and the symposium's job is to speed us up, as opposed to starting from scratch. We don't want to go from 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. We want to continue to 200. So that is the objective there. So the first thing we have done is we've created a mathematics blog, or a blog on mathematics in the region. I would like to thank Ms. Pat Atherley and Settle for helping me get that going. And we're going to use that as our communication medium leading up to the event. And we're going to, basically we're going to include all. So we're going to have activities for students. We're going to include the private sector, departments, faculties. Everybody must be involved in this discussion so that when we get to that point, we're ready now to get on with the activities that are necessary. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think this is going to be a very good event. Coming down to the end, with respect to outreach, we continue to have a very solid relationship with the U.S. Embassy for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean and the OECS. And they continue to invite members from the science community in the U.S. to come down. So during that last academic year, we had a visit by astronaut Dr. Kenneth Chung, who came down to have a discussion. He works for NASA, by the way, a discussion on what he's doing and really having a very good talk with our postgraduate students on how science is applied in the space program, but also many of the things that come out of the space program then gets into the consumer market. I believe CDs were one of those. But nevertheless, it just goes to speak to the importance of FST 2048, which we need to get into that cycle where we do the research, and then on completion, we've brought products to the table that can help the economy of the region. So he came again this year, and he really brings a very interesting outlook on STEM. The last thing I would talk about is employee engagement and development. We continue to engage the junior academic staff with their research. Really and truly, the meetings we had last year focused mainly on the scheduling and workload management, selection of key journals, and those sort of administrative processes that go into the production of journal articles. It's not just the writing, but all the work that surrounds it. I'm hoping they appreciated it, but as you can see, our output continues to remain high. And so our next activity will be to look at the things mentioned by Dean Robinson, ResearchGate, et cetera, to monitor the progress of our research in the international forum. So I would just like to end by saying that our faculty remains committed to the development of the campus UWI and the region, and we will continue to push hard for STEM and our related subjects moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Depredine, and now I'll invite Dean Obeida.
Thank you, Chair. In the past year, the Faculty of Humanities and Education at Cave Hill started a journey of rebuilding after being the faculty hardest hit in terms of low student enrollment during the time of financial challenge. The Faculty of Humanities and Education now has a foundation on which change for the better can be built. This past year, we have significantly improved our education product. That is the programs and services we offer students in our faculty. We reaffirmed our commitment to provide exceptional programs through participation in the cross-campus Caribbean Civilization course, which is a new innovation under the Vice Chancellor, and this continues again this semester. I also work assiduously with my fellow deans in the faculties of humanities and education across all the campuses to complete the university-wide course harmonization process. Here on campus, we have created an efficient system of student advising, whereby each student entering the faculty is made aware of their assigned academic advisor. Academic advisors, in turn, are held accountable for contacting their advisees and meeting with them at least twice in a month. This has really helped in terms of students feeling very welcomed into the faculty, and we're pleased about that. Even though our student intake overall declined again, there was an increase in student enrollment for the linguistics program. Psychology, linguistics, and creative arts continue to attract the largest number of students to the faculty. Additionally, there was an increase in registration for student abroad and specially admitted students. The Faculty of Humanities and Education is also pleased to report on the global experiences offered to students. Our students have traveled to Brazil, Mexico, China, and South Africa over the last year. In terms of Brazil, which this travel occurred May 16th to the 20th, 16 students of the Department of History and Philosophy traveled and participated in the first International Students Forum titled Foreign Dialogues of the African Diaspora in the Americas. This was part of a cooperation agreement between the UWI and the Universidad Federal Rural de Rio de Janeiro. In its first phase, the International Forum aimed to promote a dialogue between undergraduate and graduate students from both institutions on issues relevant to the Black experience in the Americas. Also of note was the second Linguistics Forum, which brought a cadre of professionals who were graduate of the faculty to speak about their careers to undergraduate students and of the impact of a UE degree on their professions. In terms of employee engagement, moreover, in terms of the outreach, we continue to recruit students from secondary schools through our participation in school visits, the annual Secondary School Guidance Counselor Showcase held here on campus with, serious input from Ms. Carew. And during the summer, the UWI 101 program, as well as the EBCCI Youth Summer Arts program. So we're really not only enhancing our product, but reaching out to the community here in Barbados. In terms of employee engagement and development and our faculty, in the past year, we've created an enabling environment for staff with respect to publication output and standards of research. In looking at our faculty's productivity, we recognize that those who produce do it very well. So we decided to really focus attention last year on new faculty, as well as faculty who may be struggling with their productivity. So in our last year's faculty retreat, the first half of the day was dedicated to a session titled How to Get Published, which comprised a panel discussion with professors and senior members of the academic staff. This session was followed up during the semester with a workshop for junior faculty on preparing their papers in progress for publication. And they have continued to express their enthusiasm and appreciation for that workshop. In response to our economic reality, the faculty laid the groundwork to create greater economic viability by establishing centers and bureaus that would generate income over the long term. The Language Learning Center opening ceremony occurred last year, and thus far we've received donations of furniture from a private donor and refurbished laptops from Ernst & Young. We have submitted a concept note and architectural design for the Early Childcare Development and Training Center to the Marie Holder Trust with help and thanks from our chairman of the council, Sir Paul Altman. And we're hoping that, we have their funding consideration going forward. The Translation Bureau, which was also established 2 years ago now, continues to operate successfully through the Department of Language, Linguistics, and Literatures in English. The School of Education, in concert with the Dean last year, concluded research grants totaling Barbados $1.5 million from UNICEF and the Caribbean Development Bank combined. The data collected was substantial, and we're pleased by the way we have blanketed the OECS in terms of finding out the research they wanted us to look at, as well as what we're able to do in terms of publishing papers. Overall, we expect that the research generated from these efforts will result in policy papers to be presented at the annual OECS Ministers of Education meeting later this year. I end with the assertion that the foundation of the Faculty of Humanities and Education is solid and ready for renewed change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean Obaida. Now, if I could invite Dean Adams.
Thank you, Chair. A report on the Faculty of Medical Sciences for academic year 2015 to 2016. I start with admissions to the MBBS program. That's our flagship undergraduate program. The number of students admitted for the 5-year MBBS program showed a slight increase over previous years. 75 students were admitted compared to 72 in 2014 and 60 in 2013. We continue to have more than an adequate number of qualified applicants for entry into the program. We aim to restrict the numbers, not to overburden the clinical facilities in Barbados, but it should be noted that Bahamian students return to the Bahamas for the clinical years, and the majority of our students are non-Barbadian. The pass rate for the MBBS program, during the review period, the 4th cohort, that's the cohort who started first year with us, of MBBS students wrote their final exams in May, June 2016. 19 students took final examinations in November, December 2015, with 17 graduating, and 34 took final exams in May, June 2016, with 29 graduating. 46 students, therefore, successfully passed their final examinations during that academic year. Internship. Internship posts for our graduates continue to be a premium at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. However, internship posts were available in other Caribbean islands in July 2016, allowing all KFL Barbadian students to obtain internship posts somewhere in the region, and including those who had been unplaced earlier. Bachelor of Health Sciences. This is a 3-year undergraduate program with concentrations that include community health, biomedicine, health administration, and management. It was started in this academic year. 5 students completed the first year. The faculties of Medical Sciences, Humanities, Science and Technology, and Social Sciences deliver courses in this program. This is only the second undergraduate degree offered by the FMS Cave Hill. Postgraduate degrees. 11 DM, Doctor of Medicine students, 12 Masters of Public Health, and 2 MSc in Family Medicine students graduated. The Family Medicine Diploma program was extended to Antigua for the first time. 2 courses within the Masters of Public Health were offered fully online, also for the first time. And there was a functional merger between the FMS Public Health, the Public Health unit of the Faculty of Medical Sciences, and the CDRC, and this worked well, both with regards to research and to teaching. Elective students. 48 elective students were accepted to do clinical attachments. 27 of these students came from UK universities and 8 from Germany. The number of elective students accepted is a reduction in the numbers previously accepted, 72 last year and 102 the year before. Electives with us remain very popular, but increased numbers of our own students has reduced our ability to accept such students. Bayview Hospital. An MOU with Bayview Hospital was prepared, allowing our students to rotate through that institution, and was signed just after the period under review. 2015-2016 could be seen as the year of reviews, quality assurance reviews, and accreditation. We first underwent a clinical quality assurance review, an internal clinical quality assurance review. This was conducted in November 2016. The review was generally favorable, with recommendations on limiting student numbers, curriculum matters, student advising, and career guidance. We then, throughout the year, prepared for CALM-HB accreditation. An accreditation visit to Cave Hill campus was conducted in April 2016. UWI is accredited as one medical faculty. Much work was done to prepare Cave Hill for the visit. An exit conference reporting a summary of the findings of the visit to the Vice Chancellor, campus principals, and medical deans was held on April 12th at Cave Hill. A written report noted the quality of the leadership of the campuses, the quality of students and graduates, the enthusiasm and commitment of staff, the good practice requiring new staff to undertake the certificate in university teaching and learning, the vision for regionalization, the quality and improvement of facilities since the last visit, with the Errol Walden Clinical Skills Building being highlighted, singled out for praise, the wide range and volume of clinical material available to students, the contribution of staff and graduates to the health of the region, and the delivery of some world-class research, in particular by the Chronic Disease Research Center, which had multiple NIH grants. It made recommendations with regards to student numbers, the assessment process, student support and guidance, promotion process for staff, harmonization of the curriculum delivered by the various campuses, and a review of certain aspects of the DM program. Outreach. The faculty held a series of public lectures and panel discussions throughout 2016 to commemorate the 50th anniversary of independence of Barbados. During the period under review, 8 of these lectures were held. FMS Think Tank. A think tank was set up as an initiative of the principal with an aim to develop new undergraduate and postgraduate programs. The first meeting occurred in February 2016. Research and publications. The faculty continue to promote research. The ECORN NIH-funded project entered its 5th year. There was an MPhil PhD research symposium in January 2016. 1 book was published with 6 of the chapters written by faculty. There were over 22 peer-reviewed publications in peer-reviewed journals. As I mentioned before, the functional merger between public health and CDRC continue to work well, and CDRC continue to work on several important research projects and numerous publications of its own in high-impact journals, and publications in collaboration with FMS public health lecturers. A research project of note from the CDRC was one on the implementation of a very low-calorie diet to reverse type 2 diabetes, something of great importance to Barbados. In conclusion, the faculty continue to perform well, and in 2015 to 2016, and under the guidance and encouragement of the principal, is poised to expand its MBBS program and other course offerings. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Adams. I now invite the principal to make her concluding remarks.
Chair, even before I give my very brief concluding remarks, I'd first like to thank the Deputy Principal and the Deans for their excellent presentation on the work, the nuts and bolts of the campus. And I would also like to recognize the presence of my fellow campus principal, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the St. Augustine campus, Professor Brian Copeland, who I know negotiated a traffic to be with us this morning. Thank you very much for being here. Chair, Vice Chancellor and colleagues, there can be no doubt that the Cayville campus is resolute, resilient, and committed to the revitalization of Barbados and the Caribbean, committed to its development. We are building more international collaborations. It's quite clear, again, when you hear the deans and what you have heard from me. We are broadening our strategic partnerships with the governments, the private sector, and civil society. We are simultaneously navigating financial austerity while being propelled by existing opportunities. And we are working to maintain financial sustainability and campus relevance. We have undertaken a number of initiatives to work through and beyond our financial difficulties. We are refashioning the strategic development of the Cayville campus as a smart campus in the context of the 2017-2022 strategic plan. We are dedicated to expanding access, transforming the skilled labor force, and growing applied research and innovation, all of this to advance Caribbean societies. We have become more entrepreneurial, and we are working towards greater financial self-sufficiency. We face a staggering debt, but we are also very conscious and cognizant of the challenges of the country, our host country. My management team and I remain unswervingly dedicated and committed to the UWI mission, Vice Chancellor, and to the vision. And we remain dedicated and committed to providing first-class educational goods and services within and beyond our resource constraints. And I have to thank the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences for reminding me of the mantra I usually say in academic board, that the Cayville campus will not be defined by its present circumstances. We are a great institution, and we are far greater than the economic and financial circumstances that we face. At this point, I would like to thank outgoing Dean, Dr. Jennifer Obida, Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education, for her exemplary and dedicated service to the campus and to the university, both as a fearless dean in very, very trying circumstances and a mellifluous campus orator. Thank you very much, Dean Obida. And remember, as you return to the United States, Cave Hill campus is always your home. You're always welcome back here. Whenever you want to, we will embrace you. So this is just a little vision, a little visit up north, but we hope to have you back again. Vice Chancellor, members of council, our internet audience, on behalf of myself and the campus management team and the students and the wider Barbadian and Caribbean community that we service, I thank you.
Thank you, Principal, and I would like to state my personal confidence and by extension all of those present in everything that you are doing, and certainly impressed with your presentation this morning. It now gives me great pleasure to invite the Vice Chancellor to make his comments.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Minister, all of our representatives of governments across our region, Principal, your colleagues, all of us, UWI, our student leaders, and those across the region and the world who are engaged with us this morning on UWI TV. I would wish to preface my comments by asking you once again to congratulate the principal and her team. Those of us who have been involved in development discourse in this region with an effort to promote the well-being of our people, and those of us responsible for institution building to ensure that we have institutions which will enable us to transform and to progress our economies and societies. All of us, no doubt, have gone through what I call the dialectics of emotion, that we are worried about the Cave Hill campus and all of the challenges facing it in terms of its declining enrollment, its budgetary constraints, and the challenges. But then we are inspired and motivated by the fact that we know we have a principal and a team who have provided a roadmap and a vision and who are happily on the way to building a new Cave Hill campus for the future. This emotional journey from concern to being inspired, I believe, is due entirely to what the principal has described, that within the Cave Hill campus, within Barbados, within Caribbean peoples, there is, given our history, there is a culture of resilience. And we have seen hard times in our countries and our institutions, and as the principal has said, she and her colleagues will not be defined by fiscal constraints, but by the imagination that is available to all of us, which is rooted in our history, that we will survive and get better and be strengthened by these challenges. I am impressed also by what should be described as recession management. Maybe in UWI, we all should write a book on recession management, because we have 30 years of experience in recession management. It is Barbados' turn today, but before that it was Trinidad, and before that it was Jamaica and Guyana, and all of us get our share of this. It goes around the region, it goes around the world. All of us from time to time are in the deepest end. And this is why, as a Caribbean people, we must band together and we must learn how to do things collectively. And what the principal has said in her report is that this is not just a Cave Hill journey. Cave Hill is a part of a broader regional university operating within the context of a strategic plan, operating within the context of the resources of Caribbean peoples. And I am impressed also by the thesis which we have heard articulated here this morning, that Cave Hill, following its trajectory, will be transformed into a model of the smart campus. The smart campus, of course, is a part of the smart economy, is a part of the digital transformation of the modern world. It is all a part of that, and the principal has said that she and her team are looking not only at the campus being a smart campus, but the immediate hinterland of the campus, moving through the neighborhood, connecting to the new emerging commercial district in the Warrens, moving through to the economy of Barbados and the wider region. The smart economy transformation is the future, indeed, of our island and our region. And there are assumptions, and one of these assumptions is that this is the phase of innovation driving the digital economy, and this is the phase where the university can actually rise even much faster. This is the age of the university. This is the age of the hegemony of the intellect, where by application of research to the social capital in the context of innovation and entrepreneurship, this is where the value added is going to be in the future. And economies that do not transform themselves with the power of intellect, they will fall behind. So this is really, in fact, the age of the university. And all of those countries that have achieved transformation in the economies to make them more competitive, who have built new commercial sectors and economic sectors, have done so on the basis of the social capital and the application of intellect to innovation. So this is where we are at, and I believe that this presentation here this morning is within the finest tradition of modern economic and social transformation. We are doing this within the context of the one UWI. So many of my predecessors as vice chancellors have lamented, not only in print, but also in their oral presentations across multiple institutions, that our university has been underperforming to some extent because of its traditions of fragmentation that have been gaining speed over the decades. And that things we ought to do together, new initiatives we can do together, unless we revitalize the tradition of doing things together as one university, reducing our costs, consolidating new global initiatives, functioning as one body of economic resources for the region, unless we maximize this model, we will underperform and underrepresent ourselves. This is not only simple economic rationalizations, it is also management at its best. And so the very fact that the principal has located her presentation within the context of our new strategic plan that calls for greater access to education in the region, agility in the global space, and the alignment of our academy with wealth production. These are the fundamental principles. Cave Hill is a leader within the matrix that is the UWI. And Cave Hill is well positioned to do this. And notwithstanding the fact, the principal has said that enrollment has fallen here at this campus while it is growing on the other campuses. Notwithstanding that fact, Cave Hill has a value system of resilience, collective leadership, and of course dedication that will be required by the entire university as it goes forward. We are all looking forward to assisting Cave Hill in its evolution to a higher level. I am happy also to hear from Deputy Principal that Cave Hill campus will win the University Games. I have no difficulty with that because I know that when I get to the open campus next week and St. Augustine the following week to hear the principal's report, I will hear the same argument. And that is entirely in good order. And as you know, these games are important to me because for 20 years on this campus principal, I would wager that I was the only principal in the world that had to compete with his own students for place on the side. But critically, though, the university is embarked on a transformation of its internal and external self. And principal in her report have indicated the value systems and the strategies that are a part of this transformation. There's no doubt we are building a new UWI. And we are required to do this for the 21st century. We are building a 21st century UWI. What we have all inherited was the 20th century UWI that has done well. But we are now looking into a very long future. And we have to ask ourselves, what kind of UWI is required for this region? And we have started our work. Firstly, we have a strategic plan, I believe, that is extremely relevant, pertinent, and spot on in terms of those transformations. But we have said that we are going to create a global university for the Caribbean peoples. We have already established the UWI Institute in New York. So we are now operational and live as a University of the West Indies in New York. It is our first international center in the history of our university. And thanks to the leadership of Principal Longsworth, the UWI SUNY Institute for Leadership and Sustainable Development exists in the city of New York. And already, for those of you who were able to watch on live stream, the symposium that was conducted 3 weeks ago in New York on correspondent banking and the challenges of de-risking, and I know that our chairman was there in the audience, that we were able to show that we could bring together all of the important policymakers in New York City who are making the global decisions about this region, that we were able to host them in our university center in New York to discuss this future. You've also heard that we are establishing our center in China. The UWI China Institute for Information Technology already exists. There are students who are enrolled in it and are off to China next year to complete their degrees in software engineering. And of course, we have signed a contract with Jiangsu University to host the UWI Institute in China. So all of the arrangements are in place for the launch of our institute in China in the middle part of this year. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Johannesburg will be arriving here in Cave Hill in Barbados next week to be hosted by the principal, and his reason for being here is to sign a contract to establish the UWI Johannesburg Center for Global African Studies. And so we will also have our UWI Institute in Johannesburg, and the University of Johannesburg will have their facility in UWI. So we will be in Asia, we will be also in Africa, and we will be in the course throughout the Americas. We can continue along this line because we have said that by the end of next year, our UWI will have centers and institutes on every continent of this planet. And we are 3 down, of course, except Antarctica. And I have told my colleagues, yes, you have my support to go to Antarctica. You have my blessings, go in peace. But we are setting out on this journey to ensure that our university is not only globally respected, but it is globally recognized in the world. In the world. And we are doing this because we wish to open doors for Caribbean peoples, to empower Caribbean peoples in diaspora, and to open opportunities for the world to come to the Caribbean. This, of course, is the objective because our university is not funded by the people of the region to serve itself. It is funded by the people of this region to serve their long-term strategic interests. But as we push forward with our global agenda to transform UWI, to restructure and to resign and to create a 21st century UWI, we are also dealing aggressively with our domestic circumstance, because we have said that in our strategic plan we must have a revolution in access to higher education. The statistics are disturbing that we in the English-speaking Caribbean, we are at the bottom of the enrollment pile in this hemisphere in terms of the number of our young people who are in higher education. We are at the bottom of the hemispheric ladder, and this, of course, is accounting for much of the inertia and the sense of stasis within the transformation process of our region. And so we have rolled out the Colleges of UWI initiative to help all of these community colleges across the Caribbean that are willing and able and positioned and resourced to transition up to become colleges of UWI. So they become UWI colleges, offering degree programs with our partnership arrangements so that we can deliver degree programs in a larger base of our community across the region and at a lower cost. Because it is important that we reduce the cost of our product, which is a quality education, reduce that cost in the years ahead. So in much the same way that our community can access UWI degrees across the region through the online, the open campus, they will be also able in some instances to go down to their community colleges, which we will work to transform into university colleges. I'm happy to report that just a few days ago, I received a letter from the Minister of Education in Jamaica indicating that the government of Jamaica has declared its policy that as many of the colleges in Jamaica as possible have a mandate and a direction from the government to work with UWI and to transform themselves into university colleges of the UWI. And so we will begin that work, principal, to take maybe 5 or 6 of the community colleges in Jamaica and transform them into university colleges. Of course, we are doing all of this across our region, and as you all know, we are live on UWI TV. UWI TV is a regional enterprise now seen in 22 countries every day across the region. It is being seen every morning in Montreal, Toronto, New York, and London. And so UWI is now in a position to reach the entire world with our content. And I wish to thank all of the principals for their role in empowering UWI TV for what it is doing. It is in its infancy. And in the years ahead, this is going to be one hell of an institution serving Caribbean people, this UWI TV. And I know that here at KPhil, Principal, your colleagues have been instrumental in laying the groundwork for it. But in this stage 1, we have seen the benefits, stage 2 and stage 3. And when we are all retired, we will be at home on our rocking chairs watching UWI TV. So I wish then to conclude by saying that we are all extremely impressed with the work that the principal has done here at KPhil in this difficult environment with her team. She has brought them closer together. She has built them into a force to be reckoned with, good leadership, good solidarity, and this report is absolutely outstanding. Principal, you be assured that I will do all that I can to ensure that your smart campus and your vision is effectively implemented in the years ahead, so that as KPhil transition to a higher level, it will take the rest of its sister campuses along the road, so that by the end of our next strategic plan, 2017-22, we would be in a position to say that we were tested and we have triumphed. I thank you, Principal, thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for your generosity. Thank you.
What can I say? Thank you, Vice Chancellor, for your words of inspiration, for your updating all of this new information. And I would like to state that I am not retired, but I watch this live TV. At this point in time, I would also like to thank the media and the internet audience for your participation. And as we conclude the live streaming of this meeting, we are just about to take a coffee break, and I am suggesting that